Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Robert Phoenix, and I'm out here on the deck today, and decided to change up the energy a little bit, and hopefully, it has kind of an impact on the live stream, which was crazy yesterday. I had some issues, and the issue was is that after the live stream was over, it kept live streaming, right? Like I had ended the live stream, and it was continuing to live stream on YouTube, which meant that the chat was open, which meant that anybody could go in the chat and say whatever they wanted to say without any kind of moderation or any filters. So, I did not know what to do. I had no control over that on my end. The only thing that I could do was make the video private, and hopefully by making it public again, that it would have resolved the streaming issue. And unfortunately, it didn't, because when I went to make it public, it had gone away. And not only had it gone away, but all of my other previously live videos that I had sitting kind of in the, you know, in the queue, which have not been published, they all went away as well. So I apologize for that. We're here again today for now as I begin to look at different options in terms of being able to stream and continue to, bring you the daily updates here from the fringes of consciousness and reality as we navigate through an incredibly turgid and very complex time where things aren't always what they seem to be or appear to be. And today's show or today's presentation has a lot to do with that. And we're going to be going down some rabbit holes, and clearly it's going to be related to what we're experiencing now with the George Floyd protests / riots that are occurring across the country at a fairly rapid clip, with a lot of very important questions that need to be asked along the way. And again, we're going to be looking at some anomalies and some very interesting symbols. I'm going to bring in two different video sources on today's show. I'm going to skip around a little bit of them. Both of them have some very interesting background material, which I think is important to integrate into, disseminating what's going on right now. And I have a lot of thoughts about what's going on. And as it continues to evolve, my thoughts continue to evolve with it. And I'll be sharing some of those with you today. So kind of like the outdoor thing. Looks good back there, right? Trees happening. All right, let me check in with you, Chatlandia. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I am recording today's show, so it will not get lost. And I'm going to start to upload my shows to the BitChute channel that I have. So you guys just look up me over on BitChute, and you'll be able to find me. And that's where the videos will be. All right. So let's see, who do we have here? We got Fifth Wall and VV and Misty Minor, Leanne, Michelle. What's going on, Michelle? Mary, FUP 77. Let's try this again. You got it right. Good morning, back for a camping trip. Major plot shift while I've been disconnected. Oh boy, you sure have. Now, I'm not sure why I'm not seeing my image, though. What's up with this? Can you guys see my image? Like, why am I not seeing my image? I mean, I'm seeing myself on Zoom, but I'm not seeing my image. Let me try this again. Yeah, so it says I'm live on YouTube. I'm seeing my image, but I'm on YouTube, and I'm not seeing my image. This is getting really super frustrating. Let me do a refresh here. See what's going on. Yep. All right. There we go. Now I see me. Now I see. This Venus retrograde has been really crappy for me astrologically with technology, by the way. Really not great. Zane Levy, Joe Demetrius, Mythologius in the house. Good, good, good. Steve Mercer, what's going on, Steve? Nice to see you. Yeah, so I'm going to start to upload these on BitChute. Tucker Carlson, I'm going to talk about him. Hi, Lori. Nice to see you. I'm going to send you an email today. Sigurd Huntington, welcome. Annie B's here. Maury in the house. Ani, Sheriff Ani, the Wench of the Ranch. Joan W. Jane P. Love. Carrie Persad. All right. Poor choices. Pour choices. Used to have a lot of poor choices in my life. Yeah, those days are over. Although I have to say, if there was a time to take up drinking again, this would probably be one of those times because it is a drink-worthy time. All right, let's do the little invocation here. Dear blessed and holy Father, Mother God of the great central Sun, within universal light, which is light of Sananda, Yeshua, Emmanuel, we ask that only the highest and best information come through during this time, and that only the most high and universal truths are given to us, and the courage to live with them daily in our lives, which is also important during these times. And we ask that any karmic residue that we have shared amongst one another, either during this live stream or after the fact, is cleansed, purified, clarified, and removed away from our lives so we may return into the sovereign occupation of our experience here in this dimensional plane, and so be it. So let's talk a bit about Tucker Carlson last night. Probably some of the most important 35 to 40 minutes you'll ever witness on TV. Period. Which is really been reduced to a putrid state. It's like I don't even watch before I used to watch a little bit of sports, and that's really why I had TV. It was mainly for sports and the Discovery Channel and some movies, right? So now all the sports stuff has gone away, and if they're not talking about sports, they're talking about politics in sports, because now they've politicized sports, and sports was one of those areas that was always something that if you wanted to get away from the political feedback and dissonance, that you could actually do that and escape for a while. That those days are over. Sports has been fully weaponized, and it's no coincidence, by the way. There's nothing happens by chance. Remember that now. Nothing happens by chance. It's either planned out, specifically planned out, or there have been certain events that have led up to a certain moment in time through a number of choices that conspire to activate an event in that moment. But most of what we're seeing is theater, and it's planned out. We're not watching baseball right now. And baseball is America's pastime. Football may be America's sport, but baseball is America's pastime, and it's gone. We're not watching it. We don't have the opportunity to reconnect with this tradition, right? And it's not just a tradition that takes place inside of a cement and concrete building, which is basically the home for a Freemasonic ritual, because that's what baseball is. Baseball is just a loaded Freemasonic ritual. When you look at the diamond and the square, and every single baseball stadium, and I've talked about this before, is all situated so that the outfield points towards the northeast, and the northeast, of course, being connected to Sirius, right? The fixed star. Every single park in America, and I've been to a lot of them, and they're all angled to the northeast. All of them, without fail, without freaking fail. So, but we're not watching baseball now, right? We're not watching it. This piece, this anchor of Americana that connects us to a different time is gone. And it's not just the professional experience. There are kids that play baseball, right? They can't play. They're not playing baseball. Their parents who are involved, managers, coaches, team moms, right? They're not involved. And I was involved with the baseball community, coaching my kid and teams related to my kid. And the family part was always really big. It was a really big piece, and I always enjoyed getting to know the kids' parents and having connections with them. And I would go down to the field, and even if my son wasn't playing, I'd go watch games and hang out and talk to the parents of certain players. So I got to know, and that's gone. And I'm glad I had that experience. It was a really meaningful part of my life. But they're talking about bringing Major League Baseball back, but I mean, I'm not sure how they can bring Major League Baseball back when the country basically is on fire. They're having a national barbecue, and it's not going to happen. No, they will bring the NBA back, and that's on schedule. I think it's going to happen down in Orlando, Florida, and of course they'll use the NBA as a platform to completely politicize what's going on. Normally it's LeBron James who's leading the charge with the NBA, but now we have Steven Jackson who's entered into the mix, and I'll talk a little bit more about Steven Jackson. I mentioned him before. He's going to show up on one of the videos that I'm going to play. So if you have some time, watch Tucker's intro last night. It's longer than usual. It's about 30 to 45 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes, but it's worth your time. And he did some things on that video or on that monologue that I've never seen him do. He called out Trump. He really called out Trump, and he called out Jared Kushner. And I've never seen him call out Jared Kushner before, because one of the things that it seems like occurs on a frequent basis is that Trump will come out and have a very strong position on something, and then shortly thereafter he walks it back, or the position has changed, been altered, watered down. And there's a high degree of probability that it's Ivanka and Jared, and also not just the two of them, but the people that Jared has brought into the White House, like his buddies, his cronies, his pals, the advisor to the advisor. Right? So these are the people that are steering a lot of secondary or tertiary policy. And, we didn't vote for those people, right? They weren't part of the package, and they become an integral part of the package, and not in a very good way. And I've already gone into pretty great detail about Kushner's links to Chabad Lubavitch, very strong ties to Chabad Lubavitch, very strong ties to Israel. Bibi Netanyahu slept in his bed when Jared Kushner was in high school. Right? So Netanyahu is pals with the Kushners. And so we see these interlocking and intertwined relationships. And how can they really be all that great for our country? They're not. I'll guarantee that right now. They're not great for our country. And one has to wonder just how deep the ties go between Jared Kushner and not just Chabad Lubavitch, but some of these other groups. Now, Jared Kushner's brother is a bleeding, and I mean bleeding liberal. Bleeding liberal. If I'm not mistaken, he was somehow connected to that Chabad temple in Pittsburgh, where they had, of course, their so-called synagogue shooting. I'm still waiting for Robert D. Bowers to have his trial. Also, I'm still waiting for John Earnest, who is the supposed synagogue shooter from Poway, to have his trial as well. None of them have had any indication, neither of them have any indication that they're going to be facing trial anytime soon. And that's because they want you to forget about them. They want you to just simply have them circle the drain of the memory hole and then just disappear, right? Because the effect has already been established. And what happens with these things, all these events, right? All these events is that even though they are not really resolved in the moment, right? They continue to kind of collect energy on a morphic level. The morphic field for the event grows and grows and grows. It's like investing in a bank account so that they can take the deposit out. And this is what we're seeing now with what happened with George Floyd in this event in Minnesota. They're basically pulling their assets, literally and figuratively, out of the bank account, out of the morphic bank account. All these events, starting with Trayvon Martin, and then Michael Brown and Freddie Gray, all these events, they've all had this cumulative kind of morphic resonance. And the difficult part about those events is that they're never resolved, right? There's never any closure, which is why they continue to build up this morphic resonance and the field of those events. So people continue to pound the drum of justice, justice, justice. We're never going to get anywhere without any justice, whether it's justice for George Floyd or whomever, and it's really a very hypocritical stance, because just this last weekend in Chicago alone, I believe there were 88 or 80 plus murders in Chicago this past weekend alone. Okay. That was the statistic I read. Now, whether that's true or not, I think we can all agree that there's a hell of a lot of people dying in Chicago. There's a ton of black on black crime in Chicago. Now, what's also interesting is there was an event that took place at a Dollar General, and it was during the coronavirus. And this was in, I believe it was Michigan. It was in Michigan. And there was a woman who did not want to wear a mask inside of the Dollar General. And there was a security guard there, both of whom happened to be black, by the way. Security guard there. And he turned her away because she didn't have a mask going to the Dollar General. And she went back home and she got her father and somebody else, brother or cousin. And they went back and they shot the cop. They killed the security guy. Okay. They killed him. No, there's no outrage over that. There's no outrage over that. Like where is the black community over that? Where is the black community over that? Where is Black Lives Matter in that situation? Why weren't they on Christine Whitmer's steps, pounding the gates of, the Capitol in Michigan, right? Why weren't they in Lansing? Why weren't they there? Why weren't they demanding that people be able to go into stores without masks so that they didn't have to experience this bullshit, right? But there was never any hue and cry, none whatsoever, because these events they're staged. They're staged and they're simulated events, and they're staged and simulated for very specific reasons. And those reasons may be manifold. There's more than one reason, I can tell you right now, with what's happening, right? There's multiple reasons, right? We're in Gemini time. We're in Gemini season. We've got the true node in Gemini. We're in a hall of mirrors right now. So what we're going to try to do is smash a few of those mirrors over the course of the next hour. So hopefully, again, we might be able to have a bit more clarity around what's actually taking place. So just a few notes around this place. I've got 2 wasp nests right out in front, like one right over the door. I have a wasp nest right over my door. And it's a very interesting wasp nest. It's more translucent than the ones that they make out of mud. And so I go there and when I leave or I come in, I check them out, and they're steadfastly, guarding their eggs. And then over on the others, like a few windows down, I've got the mud daubers. I've got those wasps. Those are the red ones. Those are some big ass wasps. So they've got their own little colony on the front wall. So I've got these, I've got wasp diversity in my front yard, and they're getting along just fine. Wasp, funny name, isn't it? Anyway, um, let's get into some of the reasons why I think this is happening. Okay, obviously, look, here's the deal. If they wanted to disperse the protesters, they could. It would be so easy. So easy. All they'd have to do is open up the water cannons and hit them, right? They'd hit, looters, water cannons, hit them. That would keep them away. That would definitely keep them away. The other thing is that there are these things called LRADs and MRAPs. And the LRADs and the MRAPs work on two different types of technology. So the MRAP is a heat technology. And basically they can throw this thing out 700 yards, okay? They can hit you with a heat blast penetrating the skin from about 700 yards. And then the other device, which is the LRAD, has to do with sonic frequencies. So if they wanted to, they could just bring these things out and they can hit you, and basically, if you don't move away, you're gonna lose your hearing. These are theoretically non-lethal weapons. And have we seen any of these things dispatched? Water cannons, non-lethal weapons, anything? No, haven't seen it. Very easy. It's very easy to do. And trust me, they've invested in this stuff. So they have a different kind of investment, and the investment is they want these so-called protests and riots to get as out of control as possible. Okay, that's the plan. They want to get them as out of control as possible, because what's going to happen is that by enabling, and there's a lot of enabling going on, by enabling the criminal activity, and let's call for what it is. It's criminal activity. By enabling the criminal activity, they're allowing this and emboldening the so-called rioters or protesters and terrorists, by the way, and let's call them for what they are. They're terrorists. And they're emboldening them to continue to grow in confidence and strength. And not only that, but we have to look at this from two different levels. Well, at least we'll look at it from two different levels now. So there's no doubt that these are organized events. There's just absolutely no doubt. They have these bricks showing up in towns across America, pallets of bricks. You can't tell me that that's not organized. That's organized. And apparently, one of the families that owns one of the bricklaying companies is the Pritzker family, or the brick manufacturing companies. It's the Pritzker family out of Illinois. Okay, so they're probably paying for the bricks. And also, what are bricks? Well, bricks are bricks, and you build something with them. But bricks is also Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And what was the other one? Spain, is that right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, Spain. We know that Brazil, Russia, India, and the sea is China. So that's another. So again, we're in this duality world, And then then we had Burks. She doesn't quite qualify. She's close though. She's close. But these are definitely being coordinated. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And they're being coordinated at a very, very high level. And they've been waiting for this moment. And I don't think, so we're going to get into some of the George Floyd stuff today. And deeply rather. And I believe that the event is definitely staged. The more that I kind of drill down into it, and the more that we look at the symbolism, it's definitely staged. Now, you would think that they're waiting around for a moment where they could capture somebody who has done something egregious or grievous, like so-called Derek Chauvin, right? But they're just waiting around for that, ready to pounce. I think there's a lot more planning that goes into it, and clearly, with all the twin symbolism that we've seen, it's not just strategic planning, but it's also esoteric planning. They're essentially using astrology. I've seen this again and again to amplify and push their agenda. And we're now in Saturn in Aquarius, and this is where they're going to be pushing this new dark age. So what's going to happen now is because the police are being they're being told to stand down in these various states. Whether it's Minnesota or California, they're being told to stand down. Certainly Portland, and now apparently they're kneeling. They're kneeling with the protesters, so-called protesters. Not a good sign. This is just not a good sign. And Tucker Carlson got into this last night and talked about how it represents. He cracks me up, by the way. He is really sharp, man. Tucker has totally won me over. I don't give a shit about who he was 20 years ago. The guy's won me over. And there was this guy who was talking about Philadelphia. And I have good friends in Philadelphia, and they're heartbroken. They're heartbroken watching their city that they grew up in and loved just be absolutely, utterly destroyed. Just heartbroken. And this guy was talking about how things were maybe taking a turn for the better as the protesters and the police there in Philadelphia took a knee together. Right? I mean, the whole thing is just fucking ludicrous, okay? It's just ludicrous. First of all, they're taking a knee for an event that likely never occurred. All right? The whole thing is just completely ludicrous. And they're taking a knee, and the whole knee thing is, of course, this this symbolic gesture and reference to Colin Kaepernick, whom I've talked about on a number of occasions. And one thing about Colin Kaepernick, I will say this about Colin Kaepernick, is like I said, I know his chart quite well, right? And I actually tracked, and I talked about this before, I actually tracked his ascension, and I called it. I called it to the day when Colin Kaepernick would come onto the scene and Alex Smith would recede and go back into the distance. One of the things that Colin Kaepernick has in his chart is that Colin Kaepernick is a Scorpio, and he has nearly an exact Pluto-Sun conjunction in Scorpio. So just remember that. There's a reason why Kaepernick has been chosen as a revolutionary icon now, because in many regards, his chart personifies the most potent expression of the millennial generation. Like, you're not going to find too many people from that generation that have a Sun-Pluto conjunction and have a public forum to boot. So there's a reason why Kaepernick is in play and has been in play for quite a while. These people know this stuff. They understand the power of astrology completely. You also have to understand that a lot of these people are Freemasons, and we're going to get into a little bit of that today. And Freemasons know a hell of a lot about astrology. Astrology, numerology, the understanding of symbols, signals, ciphers, sigils, semaphores, and signs. These are all very important aspects of the Freemasonic life, right? So they know all about this stuff. And our world is loaded with this. Our world is literally like littered with these symbols and signs and signifiers. And, I don't really follow Michael Tessarion's work that much anymore. But early on, he 2009, when I first discovered him, I was like, yeah, man, I can relate to this. I can totally relate to this. And it was really on point. And that's where a lot of the education was taking place. It was like, look, it's everywhere, and those symbols and those signs and the signifiers and the numerical values keep us locked into a version of the spell. Now, there are other potentialities for those things as well, but they seem to have inverted them and are using them for much more dark and occultic purposes. I go back to two examples of sort of this sea change that takes place. And we go back to 1776, and when the Bavarian Illuminati begins to infiltrate Freemasonry, and that changes Freemasonry forever, right? Changes it forever. And also, in relationship to that, to some extent, right? We also look at Tartaria and the relationship with Tartaria, and a number of these, sort of what John Levi calls Antiquitech, right? If you look at the Antiquitech on top of the onion domes, the Antiquitech are basically sigils. That's what they are. They're sigils. But I believe they're being used to conduct energy, etheric energy, out of the atmosphere. So again, there was probably a very different relationship to these symbols that for a large part are really spiritual technology. And what's happened is that it's all been inverted, right? The spiritual technology has been inverted. So anyway, I went off on a bit of a Freemasonic piece there. But Tucker was all over this last night. He was. If you haven't watched, you gotta go watch it. So the idea here now, because we're in such a fractious time, and it's about a divide and conquer strategy, and that is clear. That is clear as day. Okay, it is clear as day. This is divide and conquer land. And one of the things that theoretically we would want to do is we would want to come together and rise up and understand the level of the game, right? This would bridge the gap. This would be the sort of the rainbow bridge between the two poles, to rise above it. Now, sitting down together and, taking a knee together, I don't know. I guess maybe that's a start. I don't know. Don't even get me started on that, right? Because they're basically taking knee for something that's a false premise. And you can't heal an illusion that way. You just can't, right? You can't heal an illusion. Not like that. The only way you can heal an illusion is by applying truth to the illusion. That way you'll heal it. But that is not truth. That is not truth. That's supplication. It's not truth. So there's a very high level of enabling also taking place. And that's trickling down from the government and various sectors of the government, both state and federal, by the way, both state and federal, and also at a corporate level. One of the viewers sent me a private message last night. So she knows somebody who is working for CVS at a corporate level. And what's happening is that I think it was about 230 CVS stores have been ransacked. And when the ransack took place, they knew exactly where to go. They went right to the safes. They went right to where the safes apparently have the really hard drugs. They went right into those safes. Apparently they had the combinations of those safes as well, and went in and began to take them out, right, to take the drugs out. And whatever else they knew where to go and what to get. So this is a very engineered event across multiple platforms, all right? Multiple platforms. Now, I remember probably about 2 years ago, this is when, I think it's 2016, and this is when Trump was, running for president, saying all the right things, all the things we wanted to hear. There was a guy I had run across somewhere on the internet, and he had essentially infiltrated, it wasn't quite Antifa, although Antifa was a part of this thing. He essentially infiltrated this CPUSA hub and went to a few of these meetings that they were having. And he was really blown away by what he saw. Completely blown away by what he saw. What he saw was that, it wasn't just your, scraggly, White Rasta, man bun, blue hair chick who doesn't shave her underarms, on the streets around Antifa. Some of those people were there, but really he was blown away by the corporate class that showed up. I mean, these were guys in expensive suits, briefcases. You could probably fit them into any number of buckets, right? Like heads of companies, lawyers, physicians, professors. These were very professional people, highly professional people. And they were there, right? They were there inside these meetings, which means that there has been a level of infiltration with this stuff across many different platforms. Now, I talked about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, I talked about how there was this summit, right? There was this summit of the top 200 companies in the U.S. Well, these are multinational companies, by the way. So it's not just U.S., but they're based where they have headquarters here, maybe they have bank accounts somewhere else. Out of those 200 companies, I think it was like 187, 186. They all agreed. They had a round table, and they all agreed that they were going to put people before profits. When I heard that, and I looked at the list of those companies, everything from Raytheon to Target, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, there is a major paradigm shift happening here, right? They don't really care about making money anymore. They don't care about making money. They're going to virtue signal. They're going to create marketing plans and marketing programs that have nothing to do really with the quality of their product, service, any of those things, right? They're basically going to say, we're going to, if we have to, burn our business model because we're setting ourselves up to be a part of the new paradigm. And this is the ushering in of that new paradigm. This is the intense heat and hellish fires. This is the Vulcan forge of the dark new age that we're seeing unfold before our very eyes. Okay, so this is what's happening. And there's complicity at so many levels. And I would say going all the way to the White House as well. And I know that there are a lot of people watching this that like Trump and want to support Trump, and I find him on some level quite interesting, right? But I've never really trusted Trump, and I said that from the beginning. I said it from the beginning. You should never trust Donald Trump, and even his closest people should never trust Donald Trump. And it's in his chart. He's got the Sun-Uranus conjunction. He could turn on a dime. Okay, and sometimes you get the good chaos, and sometimes you get the bad chaos. So we have to take this into account. What Mike Pence said, what Tucker Carlson said that Pence said last night was ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. Pence sounded like any other kind of dyed-in-the-wool Democrats, progressive. I've never liked Pence. I've never trusted Pence. The guy he's a robot. He's a total robot. Don't even get me started on Pence. So I think this thing is very, very deep. It's really deep. We're talking super deep. Now, I'm going to get into the George Floyd stuff. Just give me 1 second here, because I got to roll out kind of the next level, next layer. So we have these things that are happening now, right? The organization, the deep organization, the LGs, they love to use these LG, what is it, 325s of cell phones, coordination. They're openly coordinating, by the way, on Twitter and Facebook, right? They are using Twitter and Facebook to coordinate in real time. Real time. Right? If I was Trump, I would shut down Twitter and Facebook for a week. I could live without Twitter and Facebook for a fucking week. I lived without them most of my life. Right? They're using them. I'll tell you another place where they coordinate. And this has come up. They coordinate in chats, in live game over on Twitch, they will get into a chat on Twitch and they will talk to each other real time in code. Like this shit happens. But this is at a high level. This is where the high level planning goes. They will be in a Twitch chat and talk to each other, right? And these are like the John Brennans of the world. This is where they, this is where they talk to each other in code. So he could end it really quickly just by shutting down Facebook and Twitter for a week. And there wouldn't be the other thing too, again, this is just so fucking ridiculous. Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, they can shut down service. They can shut down cell service in a coordinated area. They could do it in a 5 or 6 block area if they wanted to. But they don't. They're not. They're complicit. They're part of that group of the 200 or the 188 or whatever it was that said, yeah, we like this. Right? They're in there. So they're on board. But if they wanted to, they could jam that stuff up. The government has phenomenal technology. They can jam every single frequency of every single cell phone apart from, AT&T or Verizon. And it's not happening. What does that tell you? That they're letting Rome burn. So again, people will say, well, maybe it's just to show, America and the blue states, just how bad things are. That's a big risk to take. That's a really big risk to take, right? That's a big gambit that there are going to be lives lost, there's going to be property, irreparable damage. And Tucker said something, again, really important. He said that weakness is not a sign you can show during a time like this. You cannot show weakness because once weakness is sensed, they will go after it with rabid, and I mean rabid, delight. I watched a video on Twitter, and these guys, I forget what city it was, might have been Boston, maybe New York. But they were guarding their bakery. They had a bakery, and 3 of them came out of their bakery, and they all had guns. And the mob was getting ready to just come into their bakery and smash their bakery. And they came out with their guns. And it was almost like they were dealing with vampires at that moment. It was like they were dealing with vampires. And those guns were the equivalent of crosses. And I watched the mob go nuts. They just went nuts. They were on their one knee. They were screaming, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me. And it was just like, it was like this. It was like they had the cross. And the cross was, a shotgun and an AR. And then guess what the mob did? They ran off. And they went to the business next door and smashed the shit out of that window. Tucker showed this video last night. It is a chilling video of a jewelry business, and the man and his wife went out to protect their business, and they beat the hell out of this woman with a 2x4. Okay, so just remember this now. Remember this. If this is a strategy to show how bad this is, there is a point of diminishing return, okay? A huge point of diminishing return. And at some point in that process, Trump winds up looking like a cuck, okay? And I'm just going to say it for what it is. He winds up looking like a cuck. And guess what he becomes? He becomes a wicker man. And we all know about the wicker man. The wicker man is a sacrifice. He's a sacrifice. He is the sacrifice for the village. And Trump becomes this wicker man, lit on fire. Right? Fire plays a big role in the symbology of the wicker man. So we know that these events are coordinated, they're activated, they're organized. Now, there are groups of people who are not part of the coordination and the activation, right? These are people who are out of work, they're pissed off, they're young, whatever, right? Maybe they have a sense of indignation and they really feel like justice needs to be served. You know what's happening at these events? They're being indoctrinated. They are being indoctrinated. right? They're looking around. These people that are organizing the events, they are looking around. They are looking for recruits. They're looking for people to be a part of their army. And they're noticing, who listens, who willingly performs, and they reward them. They reward them by saying, hey, guess what? We've got some big plans here. Now all of a sudden these people have a purpose. They have a raison d'etre. And they don't care. They don't give a shit. People have been living without a purpose now for 3 months easily, no work. But not only that, but, and I do believe that religion/spirituality is an integral part of our experience. It gives us a purpose, right? It gives us a purpose. We are making ourselves better so that we can invite the divine presence to have a greater participation in our life. Binds with us. And we do this, right? And we live within certain limits in order. That's why I gave up drinking, because I didn't want to dilute this thing, right? I didn't want to dilute this presence. I wanted to get serious about it. So when we don't have a purpose on a spiritual religious level, then we are prey, right? We are prey for all kinds of demonic possession and entities and all the other stuff that goes along with this. By the way, don't be surprised that this is also part of the Riot experience, right? Because we've had a number of these rituals that have been enacted again and again and again, whether it's the Grammys, whether it's the MTV Music Awards, whether it's the Super Bowls, whatever, right? The Oscars, ritual after ritual after ritual. And these rituals are part of an as above, so below experience. There's other stuff going along with those rituals, right? So that's an invocation, right? That's an invocation, and it's opening the portal. It's opening the space for those energies and those entities to come in. And they're more than likely very, very pleased to be bonding with the spirit of hate and the spirit of rage and the spirit of retribution. Oh boy, they're happy. They want to be a part of that. And by the way, they may even confer supernatural or superhuman strengths and abilities during those times as well. That's the trade-off, right? And so the individual then wants more of that. Man, I felt like fucking Superman out there. How do I get back to that place? What do I need to do to get back to that state? They know what they need to do. Right? They need to stay at that vibration, which is a low vibration. So there's a recruitment phase going on, an indoctrination phase going on. Keep that in mind. Now, we've seen things like bricks and 2x4s. I guarantee you that is just one phase and one level. Because if these people are organized and as organized as we think they are, I guarantee you they have a cache of weapons that they are ready. They are ready to put into the hands of the people that they trust, that they know can carry out this next phase. Don't think that doesn't happen or hasn't happened, right? They have the weapons. So it's not going to be bricks and 2x4s. This is the part that's kind of terrifying. This is the real divide and conquer piece. Because what will happen is that ordinary Americans, and there are a shit ton of guns in this country, and I've been watching some videos. Like I've seen a couple videos of some suburbs in Seattle where they are out in force. Like the residents are basically lined up on the streets with their firearms. And there are people cruising those suburbs, basically doing reconnaissance. And they're seeing that there is significant resistance. We're at war, people. I hate to say this, but we're at a point of war. And this war has been foisted upon us. The only thing that will help us understand this and get through this is to resolve the duality at a higher level. Most people are too caught up in the moment, though. They can't see the truth. They can't see that they're being played. They can't see that their emotional bodies are being completely contorted and manipulated. And on both sides, right? There's kind of this fake and phony compassion and empathy, right? It is like it's the guilt, it's the guilt complex that has been weaponized in a lot of people, right? That's one part of it. The other side is the rage and the anger and the hate, and they come together in this really convoluted symbiosis, and it's a terrible combination. Terrible combination, and it's all manipulation. But the only way we get above it is to understand what's going on at a higher level, right? So if this thing continues to play out the way that it's playing out, it's very clear that at some point there will be open conflict across many states in the United States, right? Many states. And we will be in the midst of a very uncivil war. And in Geminis, it's going to be very difficult to know who's who, what's what, who to trust and what to trust. It's a hall of mirrors. And it could be extremely, extremely violent and extremely bloody. And then what will happen? Well, guess what will happen? At some point, they will call in the troops, right? They will call in the troops. They will call in the army. And they'll take that moment in time, more than likely, to disarm every single American. Every single American. Like, this is a crisis that's being created. And people are saying, oh, the Second Amendment. See how the Second Amendment is important? You could go through Twitter. You can find this statement being talked about over and over and over. This is a staged event to completely obliterate the Second Amendment. This is what's happening. This is going to be the Nagasaki of the Second Amendment. It is, and it is not going to be pretty. And there are no winners. There are no winners in this. The only people that win ultimately are the people that will completely eradicate your rights. This is what it's all being lined up for. This is going to be the sort of the denouement of gun control. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. And the mantra will be, well, we can never let this happen again. Never let this happen again. And the only way this never happen again is we take away everybody's guns. Well, that's just ridiculous. It puts the hands of power into too many people. Way too many. Well, there. It puts the hands of power in too few people, right? Too few people. So unfortunately, I think this is where it has a very clear direction of heading. Okay, very clear direction of heading. But God always somehow slips into the cracks, and then we wind up dealing with some very unusual anomalies as a result. All right, let me check in with you guys in chat. Then I'm going to get into this other part where I'm going to look at a lot of the George Floyd stuff and some video from two separate sources, two separate channels that basically reflect what I'm saying. I want to get into more of the George Floyd stuff because of the illusion really that we're staring down and looking at. Okay, let me find you guys over in chat. Where you at? Where you at in chat? Let's see, gun sales here in Miami off the charts. Yep. So interestingly, Trump made a point to mention the Second Amendment. Being away in Tennessee for a week, I came to realize that I have a new mantra. This is my life. I will not allow anyone steal my happiness. Guns everywhere else. I do my best to hold the light, resist hatred, and keep aware. I like Trump more than the alternative in 2016. His presidency is run by Ivanka, and there's something very off with her in addition to her scary husband. Absolutely right. Libs run the inner city. Yep, they sure do. They run a lot more too. They're going to eventually force us into action. Inaction will not be an option very shortly. Yep. You're right, Uncle Glenn. Trump mentioned Second Amendment last night. Protesters in Portland proved to be the fools they are if they tried anything they're doing beyond city limits. Yeah, that's true, but don't put it past them. Movements need martyrs. Movements need martyrs. They love martyrs. You might be ignoring the overwhelming majority tuned away from the BS. That's why all the chips are on the table with the psyop right now. I would agree with that, Christine. I would agree with that, but I also feel like just astrologically, it makes a ton of symbolic sense. And you also look at how this whole mask thing, right, has kind of evolved. And it's a weird thing now with the masks, right? Because I still see people walking around with masks. And by the way, I went from kind of mild empathy and compassion for them to kind of like downright utter silent contempt for their complete idiocy. But now what do we see during these riots? We see people wearing masks. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? So what happens with the people wearing masks? They unintentionally identify with other people fucking wearing masks. They are linked in the brotherhood of masks. It blows my mind. It just blows my mind. And perhaps, too, by the way, and I'm not saying this is the case with all these people, but I think there's a pretty clear demarcation on who wears a mask and who doesn't wear a mask. People don't wear masks. They don't tell me what the fuck to do, right? People that wear masks are very, very more than willing to be told what to do. And they may feel like they have some sort of individual social responsibility for that, whatever, right? That's a mindset. That is a mindset. So if you're wearing a mask, just remember there are a lot of other people out there who are doing heinous shit wearing masks as well. Sympathizing. It's about sympathizing with the perpetrator and the oppressor. You know, little Stockholm syndrome going on there. Okay. Where do I want to go? I want to play a few minutes of this video that's making the rounds. This was made back in 2017, and his name is Chazz Sunn, S-U-N-Z. He was a member of Black Lives Matter movement. He is from Ferguson / St. Louis, and he had an epiphany back in 2017 around his participation in these movements, or in that movement in particular. So I want to play this for you. I'm probably going to play maybe about 5 minutes of it. You'll get the point. You'll get the gist. You'll get the drift. He connects the dots. It's a very important video, by the way. I'll leave a link in the show page. Let me do the share screen here. It took a lot of balls and courage for him to do this, right? To step out from one's community and one's group or affiliation and organization takes a lot of courage. So, you know, my hat's off to this young man for being able to do this and to speak his truth. All right, let's go. Let me just stop this for 1 second because I'm not hearing it. I want to make sure you guys hear this. Give me 1 second. I want to make sure that hold on. I got to do one thing. I apologize for this. But I want to make sure that, because I want to hear it too, by the way, because I want to be able to comment on it. So let's go sound device, test speaker. Yeah. Okay. We're good there. Yep. All right. So let me check back. Could you guys hear that? Were you guys able to hear that video when I was playing it? Were you able to hear it? No audio. Okay. Yeah. All right. His sound is fine over here. Okay. So you can hear it? Can you guys hear it? So I stopped it, but when I played it, were you able to hear it? Yes? Give me a thumbs up if you heard it when I was playing it. Okay. I need some feedback. No. The video had no sound. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the issue with that is. There's always some issue here. Let me try it again one more time and see if we can share computer sound. It's there. Let me try one more time, see what happens. And hopefully I'll be able to hear it. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. So that's really fucking convenient when I want to hear this. Let me try this. Let me go off.
Around the time,
yeah,
I say...
Okay, we're good there.
Probably the end of 2015.
So let me check back. Could you guys hear that?
Somewhere in there, probably going into 2016, I started to notice, I began to notice infiltrators coming into the movement, which is already, it's been like this for a long time. But I actually started to see them all online, making fake pages. And basically, these fake people, part of the black movement, or whatever you want to call it, were basically, feeding off our emotions, trying to get us involved in things that we're not involved in, trying to get us to believe in things that we weren't familiar with, and basically pushing us to be more left and democratic. And one thing I want to say right now is, if you are a revolutionary or anything like that, you're not even supposed to believe in politics. So for the people who still are believing that this movement, this black movement, even some of these white movements are legit, man, you have a lot of growing to do. I'm going to say it again, you have a lot of growing to do. And I'm going to concentrate right now, anyway, on the black leaders. Okay? The black leaders, a lot of the black leaders, and I want to hit with this video. A lot of the black leaders are straight leading us to our demise. Okay? They have us working, doing their dirty work. For their dirty work, I mean the far left's dirty work. They got us working basically for them, because how they're getting us is they're playing us emotionally. And they're basically saying how racist and how messed up guys on the far right and the neo-Nazis are, because they need all the help that they can get. So they're getting the gays, they're getting people of other cultures, the people of the far left. I'm talking about the far left. I'm getting somewhere with this. They're getting gays, they're getting black people, anybody who doesn't like Donald Trump. They're basically trying to get you to fight for a war that is being started on American turf very, very soon. And they want us to be a part of their side. What I'm trying to get the black population to understand and understand, and this is critical, is the movement has been compromised. Okay, everybody needs to know that the RBG movement has been compromised. BLM, if you are not caught up to BLM, it is not even a real black organization. It never was. I actually feel bad that I've been keeping a lot of this information cooped up for so long, but I just felt like, it wasn't getting anywhere. But now things are about to go ahead and hit the fan. Anyways, if you have any kind of brain, BLM is endorsed by the Soros in the Clinton family. If you have any kind of a brain, you know that those same people don't give a damn about you, don't give a damn about black people, don't give a damn. They're exploiting the black plight to make money off of you. They're using your emotions, and based off what has happened to you, they're using that against you so you can join these evil demonic people to help fight the people on the far right. They want, or not even the far right. I want to make this simple. The left is going against the right. It's a huge civil war that's being planned out. I want to make this simple. It's happening right now. And what they want is for everybody to choose a side consciously or subconsciously. Now, a lot of these white boys and a lot of these white people, they've already chosen their side. Okay. And what I'm saying to these people is, my people, is you're setting yourself up to get slaughtered. Okay. Become armed. Okay. Become aware. Know what's going on within the system. Because right now, there is hidden powers who are controlling the narrative, and they're brainwashing you to feel a certain way about the system, about white people, about every race, and about yourselves. Do not let these beasts, do not let these evil people do this. And I'm not talking about any particular race, man. You got black people, man. Like I said, the movement has been compromised. There is no black RBG movement. If you were claiming BLM, you a real sad motherfucker. For the simple fact that BLM has always, and from the very beginning, was being promoted and being paid for by Soros and Clinton. If you think that these people who've never given a damn about you, all of a sudden, they care about the black man's plight. All of us, man, y'all pay attention. Y'all really gotta pay attention. I'm getting somewhere with this, I promise. All of a sudden, these white people on the left, and they've been doing this, but all of a sudden they, are supporting the black plight. This is all to get as many numbers as they can on their side to fight this civil war that they're planning out, that they're already being prepared for. You're going to have to choose a side. Don't set yourself up to get slaughtered. This is all a big setup. It's huge propaganda. The biggest propaganda that could be happening right now. And what I want people to understand and understand is that we got to put the race thing to the side right now. We have to put it to the side because we have to understand what's going on and what's important. And the reason why it's so important on black people, because I know black people are like, okay, the left versus right, what does that have to do with us? Because the people on the left are trying to use us. The people on the left are using us. The Democratic Party are using black people to fight their war with Antifa, with it's getting very, very deep. If you don't know who Antifa is, look Antifa up. Basically a terrorist group. I don't know what people's belief system is. You can call them what you want to call them, but they're basically like a militant group, and they're anti-fascist. That's what Antifa stands for. It stands for anti-fascist. And with that being said, this group is being paid for by, you guessed it, the younger Rothschilds the Clintons and the Soros.
So that sounds like a good place to kind of pause. Okay. Sounds like a good place to pause the video. First of all, again, it takes a lot of balls to make that video. A lot. Because there's a lot of pressure in various communities, right? To, to stick to the tribe, whatever the tribe is, the tribalism, which is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. And he departs from that. He departs from it and quite articulately and eloquently breaks that whole thing down. And the last part that he talks about the younger Rothschilds, the Clintons, and Soros. Now, Soros may or may not be around. I don't know if he's alive or not, but his son is. And I believe that the Soros foundations, starting with the Open Society, Tides Foundation, and all the various other umbrella foundations, are connected to the Rothschilds. And that the Rothschilds have been using Soros as a kind of like a bag man or a frontispiece, right? He's become this sort of Mandarin. If you saw the Iron Man movie with Ben Kingsley playing the Mandarin, he's just an actor. He's just an actor that somebody else had hired in order to look like they're in a position of extreme power. And I feel like George Soros has taken on the Mandarin like sort of persona, so he becomes this kind of punching bag and this target, but you're punching and the targets are in the wrong area. They're in the wrong area, which is, of course, classic misdirection. So he, states that these three entities are financing this movement, right? And it's true. It's true. And probably more than that. I would suggest now that it's gone so far that even corporations are financing the movement as well, because of what we've seen with the sea change with these corporations. If they're not financing it directly, they're financing it indirectly. Target was one of those corporations, was part of that roundtable that said, yes, we're gonna put people over profits. And what they were basically saying is that we are no longer going to be held accountable to certain standards. This whole people over profit thing was just bullshit. It's just code. Right? We're not going to be held to certain standards. We're going to move into this realm of like secular humanism and elevate it as the spiritual value that our companies are associated with. That's all I was really talking about. And when that happens, you can move that slide bar anywhere. So if we could somehow have that realization from this individual in that community coming together with realizations from other individuals in other communities, right? We could see really what's going on at a higher level. We can bridge the gap of the duality, and we could all turn our attention in the direction that it really needs to be turned. That would be ultimately how we resolve the crisis that we're in. It's very difficult, though, because people are very heated and people's emotions are getting played like freaking Stradivarius violins. This is a concerto performance of emotional manipulation. But that's the space that I'm holding, right? That there's enough clarity, and potentially even enough levels of communication, which is why I wanted to share that video. Some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. I'll put the link in the show page. Please share it. It's worth sharing. I'm going to get into some George Floyd stuff now. And this crossed my screen. And again, I hope I can get some volume out of this, or else I have to do what I did on the last video. Before I get into this, I want to show you like a really strange anomaly, because we're going to get into some of the twin stuff here. want to show you. I want to bring this picture up. This is the now famous Derek Chauvin picture. And this, I was looking at this picture today, and there was something about this picture that seemed really odd. Really, really odd. And I'm going to try to make it bigger. His arm looks photoshopped. And I didn't quite see this before, right? I did not quite see this before. I don't know if his hand is in his pocket. This actually looks photoshopped. And this arm is really skinny. And look at the edges here, right? What is going on here? There's like pixelation happening around this edge. And it looks like he's got a stump of an arm. And of course, this is the image that everybody is paying attention to. It's not just the knee on the neck, but it's the casual nature of the hand in the pocket. There's something very unusual about this image right here, and it's the skinny arm. The skinny arm and what appears to be something that looks pretty photoshopped to me in some ways. Then I ran across this other thing, and I'm not saying that that Derek Chauvin is this guy, but he sure as hell looks like him. Let me just line this thing up here real fast. Okay. So if we're into this kind of Gemini realm of doubles, actors, stand-ins, Derek Chauvin looks a hell of a lot like this guy. This is Ben Bailey, who is the host of a show that was on TV called Cash Cab. And I'm not saying that he's that guy, but he sure looks like that guy. I mean, there's definitely a resemblance here, right? There's definitely a resemblance between this face and this face. And by the way, this is a younger picture of Ben Bailey. And we know that whoever this guy is, he is not the same guy that shows up in that mugshot. Not the same guy. Not the same guy. So I'm just throwing this at you to kind of wrap your head around it, because the video I'm about to play you, or portions thereof, gets into the stage nature of this event. Now, I agree with a lot of the video. Some of it plays fast and loose with some of the symbolism. I'm kind of okay with that. But what's really important about this video is to look at the angles. Look at the guy that does the video is hilarious. He's hilarious. All right. Hopefully I'll be able to fire this thing up and get some sound. If not, I'll just have to do the same thing again. So let's try it one more time. And let's see where we go from here. Hopefully I'll be able to hear it.
Shit right here is getting out of hand. Now, I already told you. Now, a lot of people always say, Mag, why you think every news is fake? You got to understand, I don't break down every news story as fake. I break down the one that actually fake, the ones that they push and pump and make something out of it, like this right here. You understand? Anything you see involve the government and everybody else. You understand? The so-called statewide, worldwide, basically this right here. That show you that it's a made up shit by the government. That's how they do it. Not saying that black men don't get killed by the police, but they don't broadcast it like this. That's what you need to remember. People, why you can't get it? Do you ever see the police kill somebody in your state? Of course you do. You heard about it on your local news. Do you see them plaster it all over the media? Worldwide, international news? No. This is a hoax. Right here they put together to divide and conquer the masses in the pandemic. Let's run it.
There are new developments in the death of George Floyd, the unarmed black man in Minneapolis who died in...
What you have to understand in these fake case, always new development, always new video surface. It's nothing but crap. They're putting it together while they go along. Pay attention right
His
here.
custody. We're hearing from the paramedics who treated him. And now the mayor says he wants the police officer who pressed his knee to Floyd's neck to be prosecuted.
And don't worry about it. I already told you about the so-called mayor. Nothing but a showman. Putting on a show for the dumb masses. Watch this right here.
CBS's Jeff Pegues reports tonight from Minneapolis.
The new cell phone video shows...
New cell phone video, and I'm going to show you that they're full of shit. I'm going to show you. Now, if you notice, in the other video, the first video, we go get to that in a minute. The first video that they show, when I tell you it's lights, camera, action, and then you see the movements. It was only one police over this door taking out the so-called Floyd out the car. One police. Why the hell this new tape, this new video show up and it's two of them angling right there? It's bullshit, 100%, and I'm going to prove it to you. As you can see, your 26 right there, coding on the license plate. But pay attention, people. It was only one policeman, the bald police, was taking him out the car, before. Now it's two of them. Pay attention.
The initial arrest. Officers are seen taking George Floyd out of his vehicle. In surveillance video...
Why are you taking him out of his vehicle like this right here? What happened? You say he resisted. Let's see, because I told you it's a hoax. They can never put it together to fool me if it's fake. Bam.
Video shows the initial arrest. Officers are seen taking George Floyd out of his vehicle.
Okay.
In surveillance video
they never show you he get cuffed up right there. They never show you. Why? They keep cutting these films. They give you these piece of footage that don't make no damn sense. Why they don't show you him get cuffed up right there? It's bullshit. You see the police take out the cuff, you never see him put it on. It's crap.
By CBS News, a handcuffed Floyd is walked across the street toward a police car.
Wow.
In the distance, you can see Floyd fall.
Okay, there you go, people. This is how they're going to tell you that he get to the ground. Pay attention right here, okay? All right, they take him out the car.
In surveillance video obtained by CBS News, a handcuffed...
This car turning around, there go the light that they put right there. Take a look at this right here and pay attention.
Floyd is walked across the street toward a police car. In the distance, you can see Floyd fall.
Wow.
In this newly searched street toward a police car.
Nobody
street toward a police car. In the distance, you can see Floyd fall.
Wow, that's just a bad acting job from the Floyd character. Just pay attention right here. Oh, he gonna throw himself to the ground. It's nothing but bullshit. And of course, all you're gonna get is fog in this fucking fake shit. Watch this right here.
Street toward a police car. In the distance, you can see Floyd fall. In this...
Wow. And there you go, people. All four of them right here. So-called 4 police officers. Look how foggy the video is. They can never show you a real video. It's bullshit. 100%.
Newly circulated video. 3 officers have Floyd pinned on...
All right. There go the circulated video. Where's the people that was on this side taking the video that's showing everybody now? That only can show his head and his shoulder and the police kneel on him. Where is the people? I already told you it's a hoax. You think they can put it together to fool people with brain? Come on. Come on, people. Remember what shot you get from the so-called camera where they show you all those footage on every news station. What did it look like? Where the camera taking it from?
In the distance, you can see Floyd fall. In this newly...
If the 4 of them is right here, remember his head gonna be right there. And they're gonna be kneeling on his neck. But where is the people that was taking the footage from over at the corner?
Circulated video.
Nobody there. There you go. Nobody over here taking the fucking footage. Where was all that people that said, come off his neck, check if he got a pulse, oh, he dying, his nose bleeding. Where's the people now? I told you it's a hoax. Where is the people that was there touting the police officers to get off him? Where they at? Where's the ones that take the video? Come on.
There's a Floyd pinned on the ground.
There you go. Nobody there, people. Nobody. I already told you, the first thing I asked, why the person with the camera didn't come around so we can see it from the next angle where we can see his whole body. And there you go, we get UFO style. I told you, they listen to the mag videos. Pay attention.
Circulated video,
what
3 officers.
What gonna do about this now, people? Now that I put it out, that the people that were supposed to be recording it from this side is not there, what they're gonna do for the damage control, because they're gonna come in, watch their empty space. Who take the video from this side? Who was the people that talking to the police? Dumb the fuck
Ground,
on.
while another stands over them. You can hear Floyd
Nobody
pleading
inside.
for air.
Nobody. Oh, you get these shots right here now, people. How do you get this with nobody? I just show you that side. There's nobody there to take the film. Where was they standing? It's dumb shit for the dumb masses.
The officer who pressed his knee to Floyd's neck has been identified as Derek Chauvin.
The people don't understand. This is how they do trickery now for the people. That's why they give you a cell phone with a camera on it. Yes, guys, they tell you, oh, you can take. People think that it's just a normal person take this photo. No, it's a hoax. It's a 100% hoax. They put it together all the way, studio work, green screen and everything, and bring you this video. And now the so-called people rioting. We go get to that in a minute. Nothing but government shit. Bullshit.
He doesn't let up until the 46-year-old's listless body is put on a stretcher.
There you
in
go.
a new
Lifeless body, and take a look at him, people, with the Freemason bricks behind him. We go show you something.
report. The fire department says medics in
Bricks. That's a really interesting piece, right? Because it's these bricks that are showing up in cities around the country for the so-called protests. And we see the brick background. All right, let's keep going.
the ambulance checked his pulse several times.
Yes, remember, they show you the so-called medics come and check his pulse while the police knee is still on his neck. They check the pulse, man with the white gloves on, and then leave. I say, yes, he was good, so they leave with the police knee still on his neck. Wow, dumb on.
Finding none. He was later pronounced dead at the hospital. Tonight, the other officers involved have been identified.
Look at this right here. You believe that this is a real footage? All right, just go back to the first footage that they give you, where you only can see the Floyd character head and the police knee on his neck. It wasn't this foggy. How come all now you go bring a new film to show the 4 police and now we get a foggy UFO sighting? This is not real, people. And take a look. Just some people passing by that paying no attention to it. I told you it's a green screen. Where is the people that was talking to the police and take the fucking footage that go viral?
Other officers involved have been identified as Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Kung, and Tu Tao.
This busts the whole thing, people, because they keep going back and forth with the camera and it shows nobody that recording the
Other
thing.
officers involved have been identified as Thomas Lane, J. Alexander Kung,
All
and Tu
bullshit.
Tao.
All
But
bullshit.
Chauvin is
There you go. How did they get this shot right here with nobody on the side? Nobody. And this is the famous footage that they give you. What I don't tell you, people, it's a hoax.
the most scrutiny, even though the Floyd investigation is ongoing. Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry called
And take a look at the Jacob Fry. I already told you what they are. They are all actors and the masses. They have to put a bid in. Why you think they're mayors? They're the one who put them on. 100%. They've been called to run a psyop on the people. They have to play their part, read their script right here.
for
Take a
Chauvin to be arrested. Do you think that was
Take a
murder?
look. This one right here in the purple tie, right there. Reading off a
Purple
script
tie.
also,
Purple tie.
but pay attention to the so-called mayor right there.
Do you think that was murder?
I do.
Take
You
a
do.
look.
Let me be clear.
Watch his eyes. He reading from a script.
The arresting officer killed someone. As to the
And I told you. Did I miss? I told you already. Take a look at the police vehicle Freemason number. Right there. Watch it.
The arresting
Watch it.
officer killed
See
someone.
that? That's 32. Don't count zero in numerology. That's 32. Right there for Freemasonry. Wake your ass up, people.
As to the precise charge, I'm not going to get into that.
Tuesday night, protesters demanded all 4 officers be charged.
I'm not going to get into that.
Tuesday night, protesters demanded all
And I already told you. The protest was organized by the government people. They're the one who do it. 100%. And show me the black people that's out here rioting and protesting. Pay attention to the peoples.
4 officers be charged.
See that?
Officers
See that? Take a look.
I'm not going to get into that.
Tuesday night, protesters demanded
First thing you have to remember, not too many black people in Minnesota, period. Can't tell me shit. These people is not black right there. I told you it's just an act for the masses right here.
all 4
None of them
officers
black.
be
None of
charged.
them.
Some turned angry.
Take a look at this right here, people. Yes, the police vehicle been smashed, but I told you, just like they give you in the so-called riot that they have for the Michael Brown, Take a look at this right here, people. It's the same damn shit. 100% fake. As you can see, your 3, 4, 2 for your 3 6s, the mark of the beast. All they're gonna give you is a fake police car, not even license plate on it. What I don't tell you. I never miss. Show me the fucking police license plate. Why is it gone? Oh, they took it off in the riot? Dumb on. Why is they got yellow tape already around the police car? What police car? Oh, this is a where this police car come from? What is it doing right here? And all the people that you see around it, they're not black. What you think, people? What you think? Where is the police license plate? Where is the license plate? It's a fake fucking event they put together for the dumb people. 100% divide and conquer, and the brainless people can never get
destruction.
There you go. How this police vehicle get right here sitting there? Where is the fucking police? As you can see, the same coding I tell you that was on the vehicle right there, just backward. 2332, same fucking coding. You understand? Just wake your ass up.
Officers use smoke grenades and rubber bullets to break up the crowd. Tonight
all
we're also
bullshit, people. 100% crap. And I'm gonna get to this fucking guy in a minute. Wow, people. Wow. All right, let it run.
learning more about Floyd. The 46-year-old moved to Minneapolis from his home.
He's 46 years old, and don't think it's a coincidence why you have the coronavirus and he post up the corona right there in the background. What do you think? You think it's a coincidence? For the dumb people who always believe everything just happening, nothing really in control, nobody in control. What is that corona post up right there? Giant size corona. Dumb on.
Out of Houston looking for a better job.
Oh, so you leave Houston to go to Minneapolis to find a better job? That's the dumbest shit in the world, people. Dumbest shit. You left from Houston as a black person, going to Minnesota to find a better job. What is that better job you're seeking in Minnesota? Most people come from all over the world go to Houston or Texas to live. Get better job and everything, diverse city. Are you telling me this sodomite gonna leave from Houston to go to Minneapolis to get a better job? This is bullshit right here. I told you. Nobody that you see in any state that they pull off these fakery, never really from there. That's what they go tell you. Remember the Sandra Blaine? The Sandra Blaine come from Chicago to Texas, and that's where she so-called died, by the hands of the police. And the same shit right here. He in Minnesota, but he from Houston. Get your ass out of here. This is a hoax.
This is the man I love for 3 years.
Courtney with her job.
This is the man.
Why the people can't look and see that this is a hoax? And they're gonna take the video down, but don't worry about it. The mag don't care, but take a look at this person right here. You think it's crying? 100% fake as they give you.
Love for 3 years.
3 years.
She's
all
smiling.
coding, and they're marking the masses. That's what they're doing. Duping the damn delight. Pay attention.
Courtney Ross is Floyd's girlfriend.
Wow, there you Courtney Ross. And take a look at the damn face. They're full of shit, people. All of them hoaxing the masses. And of course, what do you have? A white woman for a girl? Okay, let's see. All right. I told you. This is how they divide you up in section. There you go.
Her job.
This is the man I love for 3 years.
Courtney Ross is Floyd's girlfriend.
It's clear as water. That video says it all. If you don't see murder, I don't know what you see.
Wow, I told you, people. And the speedway in the background, that's probably all coded. No doubt about it. But I told you, people, this is how they divide up the masses in section. This is how they do it right here. It's a divide and conquer bait. A lot of people gonna buy it right here.
The union representing the police officers is asking the public not to jump to conclusions, but behind me, the protesters are gathered on the streets once again, and police are bracing for another long night.
Yeah, there you go. Long night, because that's what they set up. Bam.
Chaos in Minneapolis.
Watch this again, people. You can count the black people that you see in these protests on one hand. What's going on right there? What's going on? They're fighting so black people can so-called get equal rights. And it's no black people there. I already told you it's a government set up shit for the dumb masses. A lot of people, they see, but they don't pay attention. They don't care. They just believe in the dumb shit, watching it with emotion, and then they believe in it, take it and run. Some people even cry over the situation. They put it together. That's what they made it for. Pull on your heartstring and then the hatred begins.
Angry protesters.
There you go. Angry protesters. Look at them right here. Come with cameras and everything. And I told you, they're not black by a long shot. Bam.
Clash with cops.
There you go. Show me the black people that out here protesting for the so-called Floyd. You can't tell me nothing, people. I'm not dumb. These people right here gonna leave their home because a white man kill a black man, a white police kill a black man? No, I don't think so. This is a hoax. They set it up for the dumb people. 100% in. Who is hurt by this situation right here, so-called? This is bullshit. There you go. There you go, right there. You don't need to see nothing else. It's government put together.
Thousands gathered at the intersection where 46-year-old George Floyd was choked by a cop digging in with his knee.
We don't have enough cops.
They smashed the window.
See, people? They show you the same fucking police car isolated right there. It's nothing but bullshit.
It's a
for the
police
masses.
cars.
There you go. Another isolated police car with no plates on it again. There you go.
And cops in riot gear used
Bullshit.
tear gas.
Same fucking video they show you every time. Somebody with a camera, all these backpack on. Is this somebody rioting? No. It's just a fucking hoax.
And non-lethal rounds.
Pulling more blast balls, moving the crowd.
Protesters used milk to wash tear gas from their eyes.
Pulling more blast balls, moving the crowd.
Protesters use milk to wash out their eyes. Orange shirt on. Of course you got milk on the scene. I guess you know you was go get tear gas, so you bring milk. Come on.
Used milk to wash tear gas from their eyes.
Look at them. It's just a hoax.
Now we're developing a moment-by-moment.
Look at this right here. This is the guy, the so-called got killed. They're pushing around on a stretcher. Watch this right here. No sense of
from their eyes.
urgency.
Now we're developing a moment-by-moment timeline of the events leading to Floyd's death. It starts at 8 p.m. at this grocery store. Police are called because Floyd was suspected of passing a counterfeit $20 bill.
Wow. Wow. There you go, people. There you go. Wow.
So I'm going to stop it there. He gets into some of George Floyd's family, shedding some emotion. Theoretically, no tears, though. No tears. Just like whoever that woman was. Like, does that look like the type of woman that guy would be with? I mean, let's be serious. You know, that guy was doing porn. Yeah. He was doing porn. Does that look like somebody that he would be like dating? I don't think so. I don't think so. That to me just reeks of photo op. Total photo op. He gets into the Steven Jackson thing as well, and how, Steven keeps referring to him as his twin. And there's even a few pictures where they look very, very similar. Now, he thinks that Steven Jackson is George Floyd. I don't agree with him on that. I think they're two distinct individuals. All right. For some reason, my mic should be fine. That's all right. It should be okay. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. We're good. But I don't think they look very similar in a couple of pictures. I don't think they're the same person, though. That's where I differ a bit with him on this thing. But I did find some interesting pieces connected to George Floyd. And the number 8 shows up a lot with Floyd, right? Because I had his theoretical time of death around 8:08. Now, this says 8:32 on some of that video, but the way that Wikipedia has it set up, or some of the details around it, it's like right around 8:08 where he theoretically expires. So I did a search for George Floyd. I'm going to get off this. I'm going to get right here. So I did a search for George Floyd pictures, and I found another interesting kind of anomaly. Right, there was another George Floyd that played football. I think it was at Western Kentucky or Eastern Kentucky, and his number just happens to be 8. Very odd. Right, it's very, very, very odd. Then I looked up George Floyd's number when he played football in high school. That's him at the top. He's number 88. So we have 8 and an actual George Floyd doppelganger who played college football with a similar number. And then 808 being the theoretical time that George Floyd theoretically expired. Okay, so 8, as above, so below. The symbol of infinity, right? The Ouroboros, the snake eating its tail. It's a very interesting number. And if you split the 8 apart, right, what do you have? You have 2 zeros. And we're in this kind of twin symbology right now, or twin symbolism currently. Again, it's an interesting number. There was something else around 8 and 88. What was it? I just had it in my head, and it went away. It'll come back to me, though. It'll come back to me. So again, there's just so many discrepancies here, right? And I think that video did a pretty good job of showing just how different, like, the angle of the video was. Because shooting from that one perspective, supposedly there was supposed to be a bunch of people standing around that car, and there aren't. There aren't. So a lot of the themes that he's talking about are actually very similar themes that Chazz Sunn was talking about in the previous video. And that was cut 3 years ago, by the way, 2017. So more anomalies. A lot more anomalies here with this whole thing. And they have used it now as an accelerant, a social accelerant to promote violence, rioting, carnage, and ultimately marching us towards a civil war, which I've been talking about for a while. And here's the difficult part, right? This is really one of the, I think, more challenging pieces around this to resolve, is that the elements that are congregating and have infiltrated and have been doing this for a while, that if we're going to have any shot of a decent life on this planet, that they're going to have to be eradicated or removed. And I don't have an equation for that, right? I just don't have an equation for that, because it's becoming very clear now, very, very clear. They've always been in the background. They've always been in the background. And the reason they've been in the background is because they've been planning. They've been planning and working on this for a long time. And we're seeing it now. It's coming to its fruition here in 2020. 2020 being a very symbolic number. The 220s, or the aeon, the double aeon, the end of one age and beginning of another. This is the clock. This is the symbolic clock. But we will not be able to continue to live our lives in a peaceful fashion on this planet, in this script, unless this dynamic changes. And it literally has to be eradicated or exorcised, right? And the only way I think it's going to happen, really, is from a higher spiritual perspective, right? Because we can resort to violence, theoretically, and we'll just wind up shooting each other. And that's exactly what they want. And there may be a point in time where you may have to defend yourself, all right? And that's a whole different subject, right? You may have to defend yourself. You may have to defend your property. You may have to defend your family. And if that time comes, you're going to have to do it. It's just the way it is. I hate to say that, right? But what they want is they want us at each other's throats. They want us shooting at each other. They want us killing each other. It's a great depopulation model. And then they want to use this moment in time in history. Oh, we'll never let this happen again. We're going to take away all the guns.
which is going to be a terrible outcome for everybody involved. But we're never going to have peace on this planet unless that entity, that energy, and their enablers, right? They're enablers. And their enablers aren't just so-called Democrats or progressives. Oh, they got plenty of enablers on the other side. Trust me. Trust me. They're sleeping together. So, and again, this is where it gets real tricky because we're in the heavy Gemini Hall of Mirrors now. And the only way I think we can get through this is by getting above it, right? Getting above it and seeing where the duality comes together and meets, right? Where they actually have a meeting ground. And to try to disseminate as much of this information as possible so that we can appeal to people's intellect and people's senses. Not everybody's going to listen. Not everybody's going to be able to hear it. Not everybody wants to hear it, okay? But this is a critical phase now. And it's really important that we don't get sucked into the duality. And it's a dance that I am kind of always doing an inner Aikido on to try to, stay as neutral as possible, because it's real easy to just get plugged into one side, right? Really plug into that one side. And then we're participating in this polarization, this duality. We need dialogue. We need higher dialogue, though. We don't need this kind of vague bullshit sort of, let's talk about change and let's sit down at the table, and because nothing really happens, right? A lot of really good ideas get talked about. A lot of feelings get opened up and talked about. A lot of people nod their heads and go, oh, gee, oh, wow, that must be terrible. That must be terrible. Oh, God, I don't know how you feel. I can only imagine what it feels like, right? You get a lot of that bullshit. That's what happens. And every time this happens, that ritual gets more kind of entangled until ultimately it winds up becoming, a kind of ritual debasement on some level, right? Those kinds of dialogues don't really go anywhere. The dialogues that go somewhere are the ones where people from different groups, and I just played you 2 videos from ostensibly so-called black men. We had a black man in Ferguson, St. Louis, and Mac, it sounds to me like he's from Jamaica, right? So this is not race dependent. This is important to understand. This has to do with consciousness, and it has to do with awareness. And that transcends any color. And we're all capable of connecting at that level, right? So I'm going to put the links to both of those videos, and feel free to share them. I'm going to have this over on BitChute because I've recorded the show. And if it stays up on YouTube, hallelujah. If not, we got another option. All right, why don't I check in with you guys, because I've got to get out of here, in my day and do my readings for people. So let's check in with Chatlandia. Let's see where you're at. Robert, do you feel we are now more able to operate and create from the 4th dimension? We're trying to break through, Mary. We're trying to break through. I believe so. We need higher dialogue. We absolutely do. Mimi, Talia mountain folks are going to barricade the roads, all outsiders. Yeah, that's, it's their right. That's their right. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them, right? If you have a pathogen or you have a disease, right, that you are trying to ward off, what do? Immunity. So Ursilia and I were talking about gates. She emailed me. And yesterday, we were talking a bit about it. Yeah, so the Gates thing is interesting, right? Because we have Daryl Gates, but that's the other thing I wanted to bring up. We have Daryl Gates, now Bill Gates, Daryl Gates being the absolutely fascist bastard police chief. If you guys go back and watch the Rodney King stuff, Tom Bradley's the mayor, former police chief of LA. You watch some of that Rodney King stuff, Tom Bradley is drugged. He is drugged. He can barely complete sentences. Like Tom Bradley was totally handled. Daryl Gates was running that town when the Rodney King stuff happened. And again, the Rodney King material had to do with the fact that, you know, somehow they got the footage. Somehow they got the Rodney King footage, right? And, you know, Rodney was again, theoretically high on PCP. And, you know, that brings a whole different kind of energy. But we don't know. You know, we don't know really. Looking back on that now, was he really high on PCP? Did they really beat the living hell out of him? We don't know. What's also interesting, his last name is King, right? And King connects to what? Corona and the Crown. So now we have this thing, right? Corona, we have Floyd, Corona, and King. So we have this bridge, and the connection in a lot of ways is Gates. The high school that George Floyd went to is Yates, which would be a silent G. So there's another little Gemini mind trip to wrap your head around. Okay, one more cruise of Chatlandia, and I'm out of here for the day. Let's see what we got. Rodney became an actor. I think Rodney passed away, right? I don't think he's with us anymore. You can look that up. Sacrifice the king to get a bigger magical punch. I think he's, who knows, maybe Rodney was an actor the whole time. Never know. Okay, I'm out here for today. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to stay open to what's possible. We got the Crimmies on Friday. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll leave links as soon as this thing theoretically gets punched live. Check out my whatchamacallit, BitChute channel. JS, Sunday Minneapolis paper had an article promoting the idea of picking up Colin Kaepernick for the good of the Vikings despite his history. Yeah, good luck with that. Colin Kaepernick has no interest in playing football. Trust me on that. None whatsoever. All right, have a great day. Let me just get you out here. Give you a little love, Chatlandia. Everybody else watching this video, I'll be back tomorrow, right around the same time, same channel. Use your head to discern what's real, your heart to stay up on what's possible. Have a good one.